and I really love the aroma that it produces. Rosemary has always got a very distinct aroma that really can fill a room and really whet the appetite. If you're thinking about an aromatic scent that you can bestow upon your guests when a plate goes out from the kitchen to the dining room, I strongly suggest the application of rosemary or sage. Sage has a very calming effect on a dining room, and rosemary actually, for a lot of people, whets their appetite. Just saying. Basically, I start out with about 4 pounds of unsalted butter. So, what I like to do, there's different ways to make compound butter. I mean, some people don't heat their butter at all. They just let it get to room temperature, which is very pliable, and they'll mix in basically an oil infusion with seasoning and spices and that kind of stuff. And that's fine. That's a great way. But I really like to capture all the flavors and do it through the butter itself. I do add a little bit of olive oil to my compound, but nowhere near like I've seen. I use rosemary because it's an aromatic and it's a beautiful addition for flavor. It's a beautiful addition, like I said, to make your dining room smell delicious. You know, food is 90%, well, I'd say 50% psychology. And there's so many things you can do that can affect your dining room when a plate goes out to a table. And not just the visual, but the smelly aspect too. And you gotta love the smelly stuff. The good smells that you can put out in your dining room. And rosemary is one of those that can definitely fill a dining room with some very good, wonderful scents. And don't be afraid to smoke and light. If you get a little ambitious and you want to throw a sprig of rosemary on the plate, I strongly suggest not being afraid to torch it. Light it a fire, blow it out, let it smoke. I've seen some beautiful presentations over the years with rosemary just gently smoking away on the table, and it just fills the room with I just love the smell of it. When I worked in Santa Fe, everything was sage. Very, very seldom did I catch the scent of rosemary. I really think that it's one of those aromatics that definitely gets overlooked a lot in the kitchen. Maybe it's used too frequently. Maybe it's not used enough. But what I'm going to do today is I'm taking all this wonderful rosemary, and I'm going to take some leftover basil that we're not going to use for any kind of presentation, obviously. It's a little funky. Hold on. Put some garlic in the mix, and you're gonna need a little bit of black pepper. Black pepper. And if you're lucky enough to have some, I strongly suggest using some sea salt. Since I'm using unsalted, about 3 tablespoons maybe. Do it. These are basically what I'm going to be putting in my compound. So, we got sea salt, black pepper, a little red pepper flake, some oregano, rosemary, some fresh basil. I've seen better days. We're just gonna give this a good chop. All together. I'm not looking for a fine chop. You want to let people see that it's definitely rosemary in the mix. And I want to leave some nice chunky pieces of garlic, because it's going to be ultra soft anyways by the time you're done making your butter. And this is the butter I use on our potatoes where I work, and also to finish my lamb. Once I have a nice little chop, what I'll do is I'll get a medium small saute pan. And I'll take all that wonderful stuff, put it in the pan, and then I'll take my last block of butter, and what I'll do is I'll use about half of that butter, and this is where I extract as much flavor as I can out of my herbs. And I'll save that butter for a minute, and what I'll do is I'll heat my pan and try to draw some of the moisture out, and at the same time heat up the garlic, and it releases a lot of flavor. And I'll do this dry, no oil in it, no nothing. And as the pan heats, you'll start to get the smell from it already. It's almost instantaneous. Oh, yeah. I'll add a very small amount of extra virgin olive oil. And that heat really activates the garlic. Not looking to brown it. Just looking to heat it up. Now I'll add my garlic, my butter. That melt down. Again, we're not looking to brown the garlic. Not really looking for any caramelization at all. We're giving it a quick hot heat to release all that flavor, extract it into our butter, a little more olive oil. And then kill the heat. And then I'll start melting our other butter. And under extremely low heat, I'll go ahead and add my other spices. The red pepper, the black pepper. Now, it looks like a lot of black pepper, but we're adding this to a lot of butter. Oregano and sea salt. We'll give that a nice little bit of time to rock it together and kill the heat. We're back at this butter. We're going to kill the heat on this too because we don't want to brown our butter. We're going to add our butter concoction. And we're going to let that sit for a few minutes, and the butter will slowly melt. And then what I'll do is chill this butter. But I don't just pour it into something and then put it in the refrigerator. It takes a little time and some patience to make it correctly. Add a little bit of white wine. It really doesn't break the butter. And just let it melt. And I'll show you the end result. And these are the 2 compound butters I cook with. Now this is the first one, which is for our potatoes and for our lamb. It's not completely soft yet, but just to give you an idea. That's the butter that goes into our sauteed potatoes and our grilled lamb. And this is the butter that I put on our salmon. And it has capers in it, fresh basil, lemon zest, and white wine. Those are the 2 butters we use in this restaurant. And this one you can see is a little bit different in color. The butter's browned just a little bit. There's capers, fresh basil, black pepper, and some other seasonings I won't divulge. And then here we have the butter for our potatoes and lamb. And that is our compound butter.